My wife's parents are celebrating their 35th wedding anniversary in November. They decided to go to the nearest town to use the events hall for their party. The nearest town is where I grew up. I have a very strong reason to avoid going back, which my in-laws not only know, but they've comforted me over these reasons, especially on my wedding day. Yet they're still angry I won't suck it up for one night. Background: I, 27 male, was born because my father and mother had an affair. My father was married and came from a well-known and wealthier family, and my mother worked for him and his wife. She died 2 days after my birth. My father's wife knew about the affair and the fact that I was his son. They had 3 daughters together, between tween and pre-tween years old. Apparently, my father wanted to keep me at first, but his wife and daughters refused to have me in their home. His wife felt that I should have been left to die with my mother. They didn't want to end their marriage and make the affair or my existence as his son public, so he instead chose to give me to family members of his. This made for a terrible childhood for me. My father's wife did not want to see me, and neither did their daughters. So any family member who had me gave me up within a few weeks or months because they didn't want to lose out on seeing them. Despite how strongly they felt, I did see them a few times throughout my childhood, and it was made very clear I was disgusting and vile. I was told I should have never been born, and my father's wife told me she was glad my mother had died and I should have died alongside her. Their daughters told me not to speak to them and accused me of ruining their family. I didn't get a home for the first 2 decades. I was kicked out at nearly adult for good by the last relative and left to fend for myself. I ended up with a job where I currently live, which was close by, and sometimes I regret staying so close. I was lucky to find 2 great people who hired me, and I still work for them, but they helped me gain skills to earn more. I met my wife and told her my history. Then when I got close to her family and built up enough trust in them, I knew that they were curious, so I told them everything. So when my wife found out where they had chosen, she was also upset with them. She asked why they'd put me through that, and they told me it was bigger and cheaper than the options they had in this town. I told them I couldn't go, and they told me I could and I should be there. I told them I wouldn't risk running into any of those people again, and it's a small enough town that it would be difficult to imagine I could avoid them. My wife then told them she wasn't going either. My in-laws accused me of allowing, so dumb, my wife makes her own choices, my wife to skip also, and said the 2 of us should be there and I'm being selfish. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your in-laws need to understand that you have a valid reason for not wanting to attend, and it's not about allowing your wife to skip out. It's more like you're protecting your mental health from a horror movie set in your childhood. If they can't grasp that, maybe they should have a party about understanding boundaries. You are the idiot. It's a private event, right? OP would park, walk into the private event, then return to his car and go home. He's not going to this town. He's going to one room of one building that's hosting a private event. I don't see the problem. I generally feel for OP's plight, but I can't see the problem with this specific instance. Anything can trigger bad memories. It's like they're trying to re-traumatize you or something. I'm glad your wife is defending you. Just out of curiosity, what are the inheritance laws where you live? Because I would be consulting an attorney and making an extremely aggressive one. Your wife sounds like a jewel. She has your back. I wish you could use this event as a way to publicly serve the crappy wealthy family their papers. I am so sorry that you've had this experience growing up, for the loss of your mother and the horrible treatment at the hands of your biological family. Nah, OP better just wait. Add a Google alert on his phone for Dad's name, and when he dies, OP contests the will. Gotta stay quiet until then, or they can exclude him with estate planning. If they forget and he's just not mentioned, OP can easily contest the will, depending on state law. As a child of the father, it doesn't make any difference which mother gave birth. OP, check your dad's name is on your birth certificate. My mom has been married to Mark for 5 years. He's a good guy, and we usually get along. The thing is, he has a tween daughter who lives with his ex. They were in a big custody battle because she never let him see their child, and then she died, so their daughter had to move in with us. They also decided to take in this girl's 3 younger half-siblings, pre-tween, and young toddler, because their father was in prison and they were about to go into foster care. There are a lot of problems with this. We don't have the space for all these children. We have a 4-bedroom house. I had to move into Mark's office so the other children could get the bigger room next to my mom and Mark. They're all terrified of males, so they won't let Mark get anywhere near them. My mom's the one who has to do everything with them, and when she needs a second person, she expects me to help. They're all so emotional. There's so many stuffed animals, blankets, and cups all around the house that someone will melt down if you touch them. It's a lot, but I've been dealing with it. Mark took me to get some noise-canceling headphones and stuff for my new room, and he and Mom promised we'd be in a bigger house by Christmas. Yesterday, my mom and I got into an argument because the pre-tween started crying while she was giving the older two their baths and getting them ready for bed. My mom told me to go up to their room and read a story before she woke the baby up. I was watching TV, so I told her to have Mark do it, but she said no and told me to get up and read the story. I didn't want to, so the baby ended up waking up and she was angry. She said that this was a change for all of us and that I needed to help the family. I told her it's not my job to raise these children she decided to take in, but she told me if I do that again, she'll shut off the Wi-Fi at night. I told her it's still not my job to raise the children, even if we don't have Wi-Fi, and she needs to do something about all of the extra children in the house, or I'm moving in with my father. Now she's angry and Mark is saying I was being unreasonable, and it wouldn't hurt to have to read for 5 minutes until she went back to sleep, or my mom was able to get her. Am I the idiot for not helping and for telling my mom to do something about the extra children or I'll move? So you've still got your room. Your mother and Mark are working on getting a larger property, and they're accommodating your issues with the extra people and noise in the household. That's all quite positive in my view. If you were being expected to care for these children, cook for them, bathe them, dress them, and whatnot, then yes, you could argue it's a lot. That's parentification. But 5 minutes of reading a story to a pre-tween who would probably lose interest after 2 minutes, well, that's just human kindness. And you couldn't manage that? How sad. I hope you learn from this one day. You are the idiot. You shouldn't be raising children, but being part of a family means helping out. There's a difference between doing your fair share of work and doing the parent's job. It's only been 3 weeks since they lost their mom and landed in this house. Clearly, Mark is working on getting them to be comfortable with him, and it's normal for it to take time. Having an antagonistic teen in the house angry at them is probably not helping build that trust. Move out if you don't think you can be a nice older sibling to children with no choice but to live there. I'm sure they'd rather have their mother back than encroaching on you and your space. I agree with this. From what OP described, this is not parentification. It's just asking them to help out here and there with small things. Children crying over stuffed animals and blankets is normal toddler behavior. OP's parents even have plans to get a larger house in the next few months, so everyone is more comfortable too. Update: I might have to stay and babysit because my mom and Mark told me that moving will be a one-time thing. I can't go back and forth when I get angry. Mark also told me I could be a part of his family and contribute, or he could stop treating me like his family and paying my tuition. I go to private school and driver's ed and won't buy me a car when I get my license and won't pay for my college. I have to see what my father can pay for before I move. Yesterday, my wife and I were relaxing and watching TV. My wife suddenly said that she wanted a divorce and started laughing hysterically. She was pretty intoxicated. She drinks. I don't. I was shocked when she suddenly asked me for a divorce. I've been with her for the past 6 years. All this time we spent together, but she never ever asked me something so absurd. I got angry and said, "Sure, doors that way. Send me papers, but make it fair." She stopped laughing and got sad. I'm used to her sarcastic questions about whether I would do something like this or that for her, or absurdities like if I would jump off the hill for her, etc. Still, I never saw this coming my way. But this time she got sad and angry and became serious and asked me if I was for real. I said, "Sure I am. You want to leave me? Then leave. I can't stop you. Or do you want me to physically stop you?" She got very angry and started crying and said that I wouldn't even fight a little to save our marriage and just agreed to divorce without reacting. She even asked me if I stopped loving her. I told her I love her, but I won't stop and beg you if you want to leave me. My wife got very angry and slapped my chest and said, "Bad husband." I tried to stop her and ask her to talk to me, but she didn't listen to me. She's been ignoring me since yesterday. Today I went to talk to her and she said, I need to become a better man and husband and fight for my wife instead of just agreeing to divorce like a heartless pig. And until I work on myself, she will not talk to me. And she's been ignoring me. She gave me food and sat next to me, but whenever I tried to talk to her, she didn't reply. I considered apologizing, but I also felt that I didn't need to apologize because I didn't do anything wrong. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your wife's joke crossed the line, and it's unfair for her to expect you to beg and plead for her to stay after a cruel and intoxicated comment. Marriage takes mutual effort and respect, and it seems like your wife needs to work on those things instead of expecting you to constantly prove your love for her. Stand your ground and have a serious conversation about boundaries and communication in your relationship. Plus, let's be real. Who jokes about divorce while intoxicated? That's not funny or acceptable. Exactly. He has every right to feel this way. She asked a hurtful question and then didn't like the answer she received. OP, she needs to grow up. If she cannot control her drinking or her mouth, then perhaps you all are really not compatible. You did nothing wrong. She literally found out. You need to be a better wife and not make a joke out of ending our marriage. My wife is a huge Pink fan and has seen her in concert 5 times. I also quite like Pink, and I went to 2 of those shows and enjoyed them immensely. Unfortunately, the 3rd time wasn't the charm. Months in advance of the concert last night, my wife bought 4 tickets, 2 for us and 2 for a couple of her friends. It was a beautiful day. We had no traffic or parking problems and got to our very good seats as the opening acts were starting. Everything was good. None of us particularly cared about the openers, so it wasn't a big concern that the sound was muddy and the bass was loud during these performances. I knew from past experience that the acoustics for Pink would be great. It would be worth waiting through 3 hours of noise to see her. I was wrong. About 50 minutes into Pink's performance, wherein I could only make out about every 3rd word she sang and couldn't hear her vocal range at all, I felt tremendously disappointed. I gave my wife the car keys and said I was going home, a 4-mile walk. She and her friends were enjoying the concert far more than I was. Today my wife is angry with me. You ruined it for me. You embarrassed me in front of my friends. I could have spent that $300 on someone who wanted to see the show. When I responded that my leaving didn't affect her seeing the show, I was told, "You don't care about my feelings at all." I asked, "What about my feelings?" She refused to discuss it further and is still angry at me. Should I have stayed and been miserable myself for 2 more hours? I absolutely would have done that if we'd gone alone. With her friends there, I didn't think I was abandoning her. Edit. I fully explained to my wife why I was leaving before I left. I paid for my own ticket. She just made the purchase. It was not a gift. I didn't go as a group. There happened to be 2 other people with us, 2 of her friends, to whom I only said hi to all night. You are the idiot. You preferred to walk 4 miles alone, then spend 2 more hours of an event that your wife was actually enjoying, and I imagine was looking forward to sharing it with you. Do you really think she could have enjoyed the rest of the concert, knowing that her husband decided to ditch her in front of her friends, and that you were walking 4 miles alone at night? It is embarrassing. He said he paid for his ticket. She just got it when she got hers. Not the idiot. No matter what your reason was, she had a way home and friends to enjoy the show with. You weren't enjoying it, and you explained why, so that should be enough. She needs to get over it. This is very bad advice for anyone married who wants to stay married. Sometimes when people advise, they really give away their age and inexperience. This is one of those times. Dude, you need to talk it out with her. It could have been a tough night for you, but leaving gives off the vibe that you don't care. I just don't get it. If my partner was having such a bad time that they thought walking home for 4 miles would be a better experience, then of course I'm not going to try to make them stay or get angry at them. Not the idiot, OP. You weren't having fun, and your feelings are also valid. People walk out of concerts and shows all the time. There's no need for her or anyone to be embarrassed. It just didn't suit you. I, 30 female, am a work-from-home mom with 2 children, a son preteen and a daughter 1 year old. We also have 3 dogs. I recently got married to my husband, 34 male. My youngest is ours and my son is from a different relationship. Recently, we built our house, and I walk our dogs on leashes multiple times a day because we haven't had a fence installed yet. I also take care of our young toddler while I work. My son is also into sports, which keeps us busy. Yesterday, my husband mentioned that I needed to clean our dog's ears. So I said, "Why can't you do it?" He said, "I'm going to say this once and I mean it. You're home all day." I should mention that this is his dog that he got before me, and I do all of the other chores for all 3 of our dogs: groomers, vet, feed, and take them out, even when he's home. I was angry, and he walked away. Well, this morning I was still angry, and he asked if I was still angry because he didn't say anything crazy, and he thinks there is a lot more that I can do during the day. Mind you, I work a full-time corporate job from home with our toddler. He said I can make time for things I want to do instead of things he needs. I should also mention that I clean, cook, shop, and run my son to sports, and his dad, he only takes responsibility for pulling weeds out of the yard. We have a lawn company that mows. He is supposed to take the trash to the curb, but he's forgotten it so many times. I also pack his lunches and do all of his laundry. I'm at my wit's end and so stressed out. He can tell I'm frustrated with his lack of help, and this has just sent me over the edge. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Just because you work from home, it doesn't mean that you aren't working. That was a crappy thing to say. Create a short list of all the things that you do and the things that he does. Give it to him and ask him how fair it is that you work full-time and do all these things. What is he offering in the household? Explain to him that you don't and won't live like this. It's time for him to take responsibility and be an equal partner. Be firm and don't back down. If this doesn't work, stop doing anything for him and only take care of yourself, your kids, and your pets. Let him see if he likes it then. I'm impressed she's able to balance a toddler, chores, and work. On my work from home days, sometimes calls, meetings, and messages with teams on the phone or emails, and things are just coming at me from everywhere. There have been days when I live off coffee till 5 p.m., or I have 15 minutes before meetings to eat or shower, etc. He is so insulting and belittling. I think in his mind she's not a work-from-home mom, but a stay-at-home mom. OP, sit him down and tell him his free ride is over. Right now, you're a single mom to 3 kids. If he can't pull his weight, take that number down to 2.